David, can we start? Can I get your reaction to last week's announcement, the roadmap out for South Australia?
I think for most of it, underwhelmed. Look, it's good news for our tourism operators who rely on domestic tourists. They've done it harder than anyone. So it's terrific they're going to be able to get domestic tourism back in our state, especially the CBD accommodation hotels. But for the rest of it, more questions than answers, I think. We're a bit confused why the goalposts got moved, 90% over 12, so we really don't know when that target's going to be hit. What restrictions will and won't remain hasn't been properly articulated. We're really worried about the compulsory vaccination side of things because we have no clarity, so venues need to be able to plan for that should they go down that route. We need plenty of lead-in time for that, no suggestion in regard to that. So underwhelmed and more questions than answers. At the press conference, the Premier made it clear he wanted to work with industry to get the best possible outcome, and not surprisingly, we've jumped on that and speaking now to the right people about getting the right result, but there's still a lot of work to be done to get the outcomes we desire.
And that feeling that almost that the bar has been raised, that there's a higher hurdle that you have to get over now.
Absolutely. It was always about 70% and 80%. 70%, 80% over 16. Suddenly, out of nowhere, it's 90% over 12. Certainly no one's seen the advice that supports that, but we're going to be the victim because there's obviously, we know about the anti-vaxxers, but there's just people who are just complacent. They've just got no interest. 75% of people have either had no income reduction or an increase in income through COVID. So for them, getting vaccinated is on their terms, where for us, we're desperate. We're relying on those people. It's an uncomfortable business model.
David, it's Friday, we're in the city, it's deathly quiet. You can get a car park in the side streets, which is unheard of. So something needs to be done, but there seems to be a very cautious approach from the public service.
Yeah, totally risk averse. And in the height of the pandemic, we sort of understood that. We didn't like it, but we understood it. Right now, that ability or interest to take absolutely no risk for some really marginal gains is hurting us. And so for as long as we're a slave to health and so forth, we're in a bit of trouble. So it's time for the public service to understand that maybe the greatest risk of all is to take no risk. And there's mental health fallout out of this. There's a whole range of other issues. But at the moment, the public service who are controlling the agenda seem quite happy to get around to doing things, making decisions eventually. Meanwhile, the clock's ticking rapidly on our Christmas season. So it is time for the public service to show some genuine empathy for our needs. Not something we normally concern ourselves with because they're not traditionally the decision makers. Right now, they're totally in control of our destiny, and they seem to be going at a pace that is very uncomfortable for those of us who are taking the business risk, employing staff, and trying to do the right thing by ourselves, our families and our businesses and our employees.
At the AHA Awards night, there were many worthy winners, but there were two joint winners of the Hotel of the Year.
It was a terrific night. Well done to Lucy and her team. They did put on a fantastic event. The Marion and the Bridgeport are just two jewels in our crown. What the Bridgeport's done for tourism and the society in that area is out of this world. They've employed 150 plus people in an area where youth unemployment was very, very high. Full credit to Ian Tregonning, Graham Hobbs, Darren Steele and Mary Lou Corcoran. They've just done a superb job. And if you haven't seen the venue, make a point of going down. Fantastic accommodation, brilliant dining facilities. It's quite outstanding. The Marion we probably know a bit more about. It's been open a bit longer, but again, trademark Hurley polish on that venue. It's a fantastic addition to entertainment precinct in the southern suburbs, and they're two very worthy winners, as were a whole range of other winners. Sadly, we couldn't do best live music venue for reasons that are reasonably obvious. That needs to change quickly, but a terrific night and many deserved winners, and I think we'll do pretty well at the National Awards.